Hey everyone, welcome back to another video. The title is true. I've quit Arch Linux. I know it's been a while since I uploaded. I've just been very busy with uni. However, I'm back, and yeah, during that time, I guess you could say I quit. I uninstalled it and I installed another distro. So I guess, drum roll. The distro is Debian. I'm a Debian user now, and as you can see, it's basically default. Like, I didn't even change the wallpaper. I think I just used one of the default wallpapers. But how it all started was I think it was this semester, or maybe it was the semester before. It was this year though, that on my laptop I was running Arch, and at the time, if you've watched my video about the most insane Linux distro ever, I was using that setup. It was like Wayland, it was a Hyperland distro that I just like installed, or sorry, configuration that I installed on Reddit. And I was using that for a while until just one day it just broke. Just completely broke. There was an update and the whole configuration broke. Eventually I figured out how to fix it, but there was a certain point, especially in university, where I was like, I can't be stuffed fixing my setup because it happens a lot, especially on Arch. I remember I made a video talking about how Arch is a lot more stable than it is, and it can be. But the thing is, the way you make it stable is just not by updating it. So, like, is it really working? So, and that's what I did on my computer. I didn't update my computer for like 6 months or something. To be fair, I didn't really need to until. Here's the thing, it's very easy to, just don't update. It's easy to say that. However, there's going to be a point where you need to install something new, and you can't install it because your whole thing is broken, like your whole Pac-Man and all that. So to install the package, you have to do a system update. And I remember I did a system update. It was like 17 gigabytes. I think I wanted to download Android Studio. It was 17 gigabytes to update, so it took me a while. It updated and then it broke. My whole system broke, at least on my desktop. And then before this, I'd already been running Debian on my laptop because I was just so tired of things breaking and, barely being able to do uni work. And it was like almost like a joke. Like, I'd always joke with my friends, like, yeah, my system's always just broken. And I just got tired of it, honestly. So on my laptop, I started doing research, like which distro is probably the best to use, which is the most stable. And I guess it came down to Debian. Debian is definitely, honestly, it really just works. Look, there is some things that pisses me off and it doesn't work by the get-go that worked on Arch. And it specifically works because, like, for example, and like, again, I recently installed it on my desktop as well. I'd already been running it on my laptop for like 6 months or so. And the reason why I installed it on my desktop is I did this huge 17 gigabyte update. And bro, the whole thing just broke. It broke, and I was trying to fix it. Because look, I know how to fix a system. So I was looking up, this error, going on forums and stuff. I'd fix one part, another part breaks. I fix that part, another part breaks. It was like this, I don't know, it just wasn't, it genuinely was not working. And there was a certain point where I'm like, it is easier to just reinstall the whole computer than to try and fix this. So, and it's like, did I really want to fix it? Because I fix it, I don't update it for a while, I update it and it breaks. And it always happens. Every time I don't update it for a long time, it breaks. And every time I update it regularly, if I update it like somewhat regularly, it's like not updating for a long time. It seems stable, but you're just preventing the inevitable of it breaking. So I genuinely I had enough of it. And then I spent, I think, the entire day, I was backing, I think I just like took a USB, I churrooted it into my system. I copied all the files that I needed, like all the videos and stuff. So I backed up my home directory essentially, and I just cleaned the system and reinstalled it. And honestly, it was much needed because I even did some stuff on my Windows setup. So now I have a lot more storage space, and yeah, the system is just way better because I also have, before it was just one partition with root and home all together. And me personally, I don't like doing that now. I like having a separate home partition because in that case, if you just want to update or if you just want to reinstall and install a new operating system, it's very easy to do that. You preserve the home partition and you just wipe the root. But doing it in the way where it's all like together, you have to separately back it up. And just me personally, it's a lot easier this way. I don't expect myself to reinstall or like create a new or like install a new operating system, a new distro for now, but you know, it's a handy feature. I think alongside that, but look, I'll tell you, it's not all sunshine and rainbows. For example, one thing that was pissing me off for a long time and right now doesn't work is it's in Hungarian, but there's a nightlight version or night mode, whatever. Nightlight. Yeah. Right now it's gone. There should be a separate tab here. It doesn't work right now. The reason why it doesn't work is, and I didn't realize this, is that on Debian, I think by default there is no or I think they only allow non-free firmware, but non-free like packages they don't allow. So because of that, by default, I have an NVIDIA card, I have a 1060. By default, the card is using, or the distro is using, I don't know how to pronounce it, like Novo, the open source NVIDIA drivers. And this is the first time I didn't even realize I was using it, but this is the first time I was using it. And there's just weird stuff that was not working. For example, it took me forever to get OBS working because before, I'll just show you, it's my OBS. It was just black. I could see my cursor, but everything else was black. Eventually, I couldn't figure out why it wasn't working. Eventually, this is a couple of days ago, I randomly just got nostalgic. I installed Minecraft and I noticed my Minecraft performance was like shit. Like it was really bad. I was looking into it and then somehow I came across like, oh, it's probably using my CPU and not my graphics card. I looked into it and then I realized that I was using the free open source driver. I wasn't using the proprietary NVIDIA driver. I installed the proprietary NVIDIA driver, instantly works, and then just randomly I realized that OBS also works, so that was the issue. But then, because I'm using the proprietary driver, the nightlight feature doesn't work because the driver version is 535 and it wasn't like working well. But then in 545, I think it was version 545 of the NVIDIA driver, the NVIDIA developers, I think they enabled it or they fixed it or whatever. So then I try and install, this was literally just today. I try and install the latest version. I find a way that you can install the latest version of the NVIDIA driver on Debian. I install it, Nightlight works, but OBS doesn't work. So I was like, shit. So I had to uninstall it and then I reinstalled the latest version of the proprietary driver that Debian allows without using an NVIDIA source. But now, yeah, like at the end of the day, I was like, let me just get it working. Even this isn't working fully because the encoding it's based on my CPU. So my CPU is getting used quite heavily right now, but my graphics card isn't, even though like for recording, you should use a graphics card. So look, it's not all sunshines and rainbows, but for me, the most important thing for me now is I just want it to work. And honestly, I genuinely like Debian. I genuinely like it. It's very, like, you could call it normie or whatever. But I remember I was watching this video. I think he's pretty big as well. His name's Theo. And he made a video about why he switched from Linux to Mac. And honestly, watching that video, I was like, wow, this is the exact same position that I feel myself in. Because at the end of it, you get to a certain point, I think using Arch and playing around with Linux, it's a fun, interesting thing that you can do when you're younger. But now that I'm getting older, and now that for me, especially like uni work and just work in general is more important than me personally, I don't care about tinkering with my setup anymore. That was a stage of my life and I've just moved on. I'm no longer, like even before this, for many months, I didn't change my DWM configuration. I didn't really mess around with my configs or anything because I just wanted things to work and I just wanted to do stuff. And look, in fairness, when it does work, I reckon that setup is very nice with the tiling window manager and stuff. But the fact that it's inherently a bit unstable and not user friendly, for me, is just not something that I want to personally do anymore. I don't want to personally mess around with. And yeah, that's just me personally. I think from now on, I'd definitely be using Debian, or if I do change, it would definitely be a stable stable distro. Because, okay, for example, like a very basic thing, I like the fact that if I want to change my language into Hungarian, it really is just a couple clicks, log out, and then my whole setup is in Hungarian. Everything's in Hungarian. The settings, so if I just open up, you can see all the settings are in my language. Even the folders, they're all automatically in Hungarian. I like that. I really like that feature personally. And that's not really something you can do so easily in Arch. Even my terminal, which might be a bit overkill, but I don't mind it. Like if I try and do sudo apt install, I don't know, just OBS Studio, you can see that it's asking in Hungarian. It's all in Hungarian. And I'm not gonna lie, it's hard because my Hungarian isn't that good. It isn't that good. So it kind of forces me out, like it makes me a lot slower, but I'll take it. But again, like, or if I want to be like extra and I want to set it to Italian or Greek or whatever, like whatever language I'm learning, I just want to push myself in that language. I like the fact that I can just change it very quickly. It's not something that you can do as simply in an Arch Linux setup, unless you have like GNOME installed again. But then, I don't know, me personally, I just prefer stable, simple. And I think that, at least for me, Arch is no longer that. It's just too much of a headache to deal with. I think possibly, I'm genuinely being honest with this, and I know this, some people might be almost shocked. I think for me, the laptop I have a ThinkPad running Debian as well. However, there's a lot of things. Actually, the major thing I don't like about it is the poor battery. Honestly, because I think even when you install Arch or you install Linux, the battery life becomes worse than it is on Windows. And I'm not actually sure. I've looked into like tweaking, but for some reason, it's just genuinely worse. And it's something I really dislike. It's like it lasts maybe 2 hours, and then I need to charge it. And I'm not doing anything insane. Like usually it's just coding. Sometimes I'm running like an emulator, like an Android emulator, but I genuinely don't like the battery life. And I think now the next laptop I get, I'll still use it, but I think the next laptop I get will probably be Mac, to be honest. Even though there's a lot of things I don't like about it, it's a very convenient device. At least it works. At least it's still, I'd still prefer, honestly, Mac and like iOS over Windows, just because of like, you know, it is technically a Unix system. There's a lot of benefits like that. And you get a lot more software as well. So if I really wanted to, I could use Photoshop on Mac and all that good stuff. And yeah, I don't know. That's just my thoughts. I guess this is me moving on from a chapter of my life. Maybe it's dramatic, but I'm not into the unstable testing out distros. That's just me personally. I think Bugs Rider is also the same. I haven't been watching any of his videos recently, but I recently just checked out his channel and I saw it's like life after you uninstall Arch Linux. And it was the same thing. Like, I think you get to a certain point where you just want to live life, and living life isn't having to fix your system every 10 seconds. Obviously it's a bit, I'm being hyperbolic, but that's definitely what it feels like. That's definitely what it feels like. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this little video, this little update. I'll definitely try and get back into uploading videos. I got a bit lazy, and yeah, I need to get back into the routine. But again, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you like this video, please like, subscribe. We're nearly at 10,000 subscribers. I'd love to hit that milestone. I don't think we can reach it by the end of the year. There's no way. But probably, I think in maybe Jan or Feb, we could do it if I really start getting back into it. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.